Have I DNF'd 3 books this week? Who am I? All right, y'all, so we are back in this setup today for a very chill chat with me. We're gonna talk about some books I've been reading this month. What am I currently reading right now? What do I plan to read throughout the weekend? All that stuff. And we have a chit chat with me about secular romance. Your girl's fired up today. You ready? I'm going to be nice as pie, honey. My southern, okay? Bless your heart. Let's go. I'm just kidding, but only a little bit. If you've seen my Instagram stories on Wednesday the 12th, you already know what we're going to talk about, but I feel like it needs to be said, so we're going to say it. We got honesty, full transparency here on the channel, so I feel like I'm the perfect voice to chat about these things, okay? So, let's do it. Okay, first I want to talk about, though, the books I have been reading this month. What did I finish? And I can say I finished The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. I gave it 4 stars. We're going to chat about it here in a minute. Also, Northanger Abbey, 5 stars. I'm proud of myself on this one, y'all. And then I managed to finish Hot Pot Murder, book 2 after Death by Bubble Tea. Cute little cozy mystery. So, book 2 in the series. So, yeah. And then, as far as currently reading, we'll talk about the currently reading and everything else after that. Okay? First, I want to talk about The Other Bennet Sister. Y'all, I had to order myself a copy. Look how big this was. I feel like I read this forever. But I started on July the 2nd and I finished on July the 8th. According to Goodreads. This book truly felt like a Pride and Prejudice retelling in a way, because the characters felt like who they're supposed to be to me and what I remember from reading Pride and Prejudice last year. This one will give you a full different perspective on Mary Bennet and several other of the characters in Pride and Prejudice. We see a lot of the events in the first part of this book from Mary's point of view, and you know, she was really labeled like an ugly duckling, if you will, and her family is just, especially Mrs. Bennet in this book, they're just downright mean to her. And it just, you know, they made her feel like she's not good enough, pretty enough. Her skills are weird. Wearing spectacles, glasses is very odd. And, you know, she's never going to find a match to be married. So you just feel like this empathy for her in this. And in this story, we just see Mary Bennet starting to find herself and find her happy ending. And I loved it. It was a bit long for me, so that's why it wasn't necessarily 5 stars. It just, some parts dragged. But every time I picked the audiobook back up, I was just completely immersed in the story regardless. So I truly feel like the characters, they felt true to Pride and Prejudice. Like I said, you know, this author, she skillfully weaved this captivating narrative that just truly aligned with all the events that happened in Pride and Prejudice. You know, we see some of Mr. Collins and all that stuff that's going on with Charlotte Lucas and Lizzie, and then Mr. Darcy and some of that stuff. And we see like all that from Mary's point of view in the first little bit, but then after the whole, you know, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy stuff, we see what it would have been like for Mary after that. You know, this author really brought this depth and complexity to this character that we so often dismiss in Pride and Prejudice, you know? You know, she was really just a minor character in that story, and in this book, you know, we have seen her being transformed from this timid little sister into a woman who was just discovering her true passions and desires. So, yeah, I think a lot of us will also see ourselves in Mary Bennet. Yeah, I really feel like this was a great tribute to Jane Austen's world, and the author did a really, really great job. And she breathed like this new life into a beloved classic, and she gave this voice to a character that's too often overlooked. So yeah, I feel like if you really like Jane Austen, Regency books during that time, this is perfect. I'm glad that I read this. It just, yeah, a new appreciation for Mary Bennet. I will never see her the same again. Speaking of Jane Austen, okay, Northanger Abbey, your girl finished it. Look at me go. I mean, all right, you can kind of see, look at all these little highlights I've had throughout the book. You know, we're here. So I had the best time reading this. I was chatting about it with Miriam from Miriam Elizabeth Reads several times about the different things in this. I chatted a lot with a lot of you all on Instagram as well about this, and it was just the best. I haven't finished watching the adaptation. I need to go back and finish it, but I was kind of following along through a certain point, and then I was like, okay, I really need to like focus on, am I going to listen to the audio and read it physically at the same time, take the notes, focus on that versus doing the movie as well, which I did that for about the first 20% and I finally understood. And you know, this, if you're someone who struggles with classics, this one is one that like, it's truly worth figuring out, I'll say, because I have a hard time with the language and all that stuff, y'all. I really do. And I mean, I'm honest about it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's old English. You know, a lot of us don't necessarily always know what they're saying. Sometimes you feel like they're going around in a circle to tell me, okay, she had 10 kids, you know, the girl was fourth out of 10 kids, all this stuff, you know, and it's like, what? So you really have to like pay attention, and I could never just listen to this by itself to physically read it. So I would sit down, let's say at the kitchen table, you know, late at night, and I would just highlight and I would make notes in a notebook. I don't have my notebook with me. So, but I am going to put some clips in here before we even talk, okay, about anything of my Instagram updates now. Y'all, update. I'm on page 68, chapter 10 of Northanger Abbey. And John Thorpe, is that, wait, yeah, chapter 10. John Thorpe really be thinking he can be taking over dances, okay? He like, what? He's like wanting to dance with Catherine, and she's like, you never asked me, son. My Southern. And he's like, that's a good one, by Jove. I asked you as soon as I came into the room, and I was just going to ask you again, but when I turned around, you were gone. This is a cursed, shabby trick. I only came for the sake of dancing with you, and I firmly believe you were engaged to me ever since Monday. Look here, John. It's a no for me. Like, you really think you could claim that? You really gonna claim that? How about no? Peace out. You go. This guy. I am really having a good time with this. I'm back on it. I was on chapter 8. Sorry, what is this lighting? I was on chapter 8, and I've read 8, 9, and I'm almost done with 10. So, yeah, I've just been kind of taking my time, okay? And watching the 2007 movie. Yeah, on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And so I was watching it, and as I go along with it, and it really makes a lot more sense now to me. So, hey, we'd love to see it. And I mean, this John Thorpe here, man, he is just annoying. He is so insufferable. Okay, let's use that word. Because, I'm sorry, this is not a very good lighting. But I'm just here to give an update because he is so disagreeable, but to me, it's the word for annoying. I mean, he really sitting here talking about people. They are lying about, boastful girl. Hey, y'all. So, another quick update. Got to chapter 14 on Northanger Abbey. I'm going to stop for today. I've been doing a lot of deep dive into it today. So, my head started to hurt and I had to put it down. But, let me just say, again, John Thorpe and Isabella sitting over here lying. Like, they trying to hold her back, Catherine back, and going and lying to the Tilneys, saying, oh, she's indisposed. She can't be there. She has plans for the day. Bruh, she didn't have no plans with you. I cannot. And then trying to, like, grab her hand. But when she tried to leave to go talk to the Tilneys. Bruh, this is not, I'm just saying, somebody need to get them. Hey, y'all. Oh, I almost said it's Amanda. I'm not doing a YouTube video. Okay. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a great day. I am on chapter 22 of Northanger Abbey. And, y'all, Isabella messy, ain't she? She is messy. What? I'm just saying. Like, this is... So, if you know, you know. I can't say because it'd be a spoiler. But, yeah, just like the manipulation from her. She gaslight, I'm just saying. But, yeah, she crazy. So, we had a lot of stuff going on with her and, John Thorpe, whatever. But, I'm loving this. We're on part 2 of this novel where it's more like a gothic vibe. We're at Northanger Abbey, loving this. And all of the satire, hilarious. Just a really great time. Really great time. I'm going to try to finish it today. I don't have much left. I think the last chapter is 31, maybe. Yeah, chapter 31 is the last one. So, Yeah, I don't have much left, but that can take me a while. Okay, so y'all seen, honey, I was loving this and cracking up so much. Like, this whole book just was a great rom-com introduction. Like, it just feels like the first rom-com ever, truly. The chapter summaries online also helped me figure out. I'm gonna look at my notes here because you girls forgetting things. This did not disappoint because it really has like this gothic vibe as well. That I normally don't read books with gothic vibes, but I was cool with it. Henry Tilney, yes, he was a great hero. So my reactions, that's the best I could. I didn't get to do a vlog with this, so I wanted to at least give you all my like real-time reactions to some of that stuff. You know, Isabella Messy, I mean, honey, what is going on? John Thorpe and me was about to fight. I'm just like, I'm just saying, I was like, look here. No, I'm just kidding. Only a little bit, but yeah, so Jane Austen, she truly just in this witty world of all this great social commentary, these endearing characters, and playful satire, just pure satire that I love. You know, it's a really great coming of age story. Catherine Morland is our main character, and you know, we have this unique blend of romance, mystery, and you know, just the witty dialogue that Austen always puts in her books, and I love it. And so I can't wait to read more of her books. I mean, I'm here. Okay, just like the whole feeling of like deep diving into a book, annotating, and truly understanding what's going on, immersing yourself is the greatest experience. I highly recommend doing that. It's set in the town of Bath, and we follow the adventures of Catherine Morland. Like I said, she's our main heroine of the story. She's this young girl. She's average girl. And she leaves to travel with the Allens, and she ends up meeting several people along the way, okay, including making the acquaintances of the Tilneys and the Thorpes, okay. So her journey is like really filled with all these humorous misunderstandings and these different acquaintances and stuff, and the things along the way, and the touch of this like gothic feel as well, like intrigue. Yeah, I love seeing her journey. Is like she's starting to realize who she can trust, who's really her friends, all this stuff. She's very naive, right? You know, from the very beginning, she doesn't know hardly anything. She's never really been anywhere. I love Catherine, Henry, Eleanor the best. Eleanor is Henry Tilney's sister. And yeah, Catherine was just like this realistic, relatable character for me. She shines in this book, and you know, she is naive about life, I will say, but she has this like lively imagination that's funny, and it was really depicted well in the show, like showing all her like, she reads like novels and all this stuff, like Udolpho, and it's hilarious to see her just like in the movie. They show how she's like going through all these different things in her imagination. Anyway, Catherine is learning all these different things about life. You know, Henry, he's helping her along the way. He is very dashing. I loved him. Eleanor is a really nice friend. But then we have the Thorpes. Look here. John and Isabella. I'm just saying. Look here, John Thorpe. I'm giving you the side eye. They were just very rude and these lying, manipulative people to Catherine. And, you know, she starts to really see how these unchecked assumptions can really have consequences. Because it's like, this whole time, she's just like, oh, I'm sure, oh, you know, brushing off all these things that are like red flags, you know. Like, honey, you're being gaslit from the very beginning on this, okay? Like, what you saying? And like John Thorpe over here really thinking he could take over dances. I mean, it's a no. He over here trying to say, oh, well, honey, I took care of this. No, you did not. So anyway, you saw my updates. It's fine. But yeah, overall, this is just a really delightful, witty novel that just, you know, I loved it. Henry Tilney was the greatest hero. He was just always there to try to help her, like, help Catherine lead her into understanding more about what are their true motivations. You know, he's really there to like help her analyze things, and he always was forgiving. And yeah, this is genius. It really is, and I'm so glad that I read it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy my chit chats about this because it was a great time. I highly recommend it. I want to read Emma Persuasion. Those will be like the ones on my radar next. Mansfield Park probably like the last, but yeah, I've got them on my shelf. I hit myself. Anyway, yeah, I got them on my shelf. So that's a copy I have. I have 2 copies of this book. So this is the one I annotated because it was more like floppier, and the other one's like a hardcover, pretty shiny, all that stuff. I mean, because, you know, of course, we got to have 2 copies of Jane Austen minimum, right? I'm just kidding. And the other book I finished this month was Hot Pot Murder by Jennifer Chow. This is book 2 in a cozy mystery series, the LA Night Market series. I buddy read this with Chrissy, Lindsay, Lemus, and Sky, and we had a great time talking about this. We buddy read the first book, Death by Bubble Tea. It was a great time. I like book 1 better. This is really like 3.5 to 4 stars. I kind of really like, now thinking about it, it's really probably more like 3.5. I put 4 on Goodreads. But the strength of this book and this series is how the author, you know, she has this ability to like weave in these really great cultural elements that's very seamless into the story. And, you know, she is exploring these different intricate dynamics of the families and the traditions, and she gives us a really good glimpse into like traditions of Chinese cuisine, and you see these close-knit communities and like the people that surround them. So I really like that. But and plus I'm always hungry when I read these, I'm just saying. Here we are following Yale and Celine. Celine's her cousin, and they're back in this amateur sleuthing, and they're whipping up some great food, okay? We've got this whodunit. Somebody ended up dead. Jeffrey Fu, the president of the local restaurant association there, he gets a literal shock to his system. Okay, there's some like electrical stuff and water and all this stuff. I'm pretty sure it's water. I can't remember. But he gets pretty much shocked to death. And they're like, what? They thought it was an accident. It's murder, all that stuff. So yeah, that's the mystery that they're trying to figure out. Wish we had a little bit more of Detective Strauss. I need a romance in this. I really do. Like, that's what's missing for me in this. Detective Strauss is one of my favorite characters, and he was not in here a lot. So yeah, it's 3.5 to 4 stars. I still recommend the series. It's a great series. It's just, I need some more development with him, regardless if it's a romance or not. I think we all kind of felt the same when we better read it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a great, the way she explains people is always like about kind of like their food. She has really great descriptions of food and things like that in cuisine. And I always like that. But like I said, I'm missing a little bit more on the romance side. I like a good romance in my cozies. What about y'all? Let me know. Now what y'all really come to see. Okay. And that's the tea on the DNFs. Okay. If you've been following me on Instagram in all this week, I've been kind of giving some daily updates on reading. I don't always do that, but it's fun. So let me just start off by saying my book of the month reading. You know, I told y'all I was going to be strict on the DNFs. And have I been? Yes, ma'am. So, so strict. So strict. If I'm not loving it, peace out. I was talking to Tammy today. Her channel is The Protagonist Pub. I will leave her channel down below. Go check her out. She's funny. I always like her recs and stuff. I need to go catch up on videos, girl. She was saying she always knows by like page 50 if this book is for her or not. Girl, I need to use that rule because she is so right. So let me just go in with, first off, River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Okay, I said for y'all to pick. A lot of y'all said this one, okay? And then a lot of y'all said Jacqueline in Paris. Or Jacqueline, whatever it was. I didn't both these. Okay, it did not go well. So I started the audio for this. In the first chapter, I was like, what? Oh my gosh, this sounds so interesting, right? The narrator was Scottish. I was vibing with the story. I was like, yeah, we've got all this crazy, dangerous stuff going on. This guy's trying to get on the shore. His name was Jack. That's right. So he was trying to get back to these leaders of the clan, I want to say. And it's really had like language. It's a lot like Scottish language and all that stuff. It just really reminded me of like a fantasy Scotland. So I was here. Up until we had some weird stuff going on where they're talking about spirits. And it just, you know, I was like, I don't know. You know, we had spirits of the water, spirits of the earth. And I know it's fantasy, but like, that just ain't for me. And like, they're talking about like internal spirits a little bit too. That was like, so I'm sure it's a good book. I'm sure it's a good story. I'm sure I would love the setting. That's what it really had going for it. But when we had this, I don't like stuff with ghosts in it. It really bothers me. And so there was a woman that was talking to some ghost of some lady who had been dead for like 5 years. And I said, I ain't reading this. So that's really why I put it down. But again, if you love this book, it's fine. It's just, that was my own personal conviction, and I said I'm not going to read it. So, put this down, and then there wasn't really any language or anything that I saw from the very beginning, if you want to know that, but again, I didn't get very far, so, before I said peace. So, there's one. It's in my Pango store if anybody wants it. Okay, I like my Pango store below because all these book of the months are going to be in there if anybody really wants them, but most of y'all probably be like, nah. So, then, Jacqueline in Paris. I really was feeling bad about having to DNF this. I wanted to really push through. I was wanting to deep dive into this, you know, because it's about like a Jackie Kennedy before she was Jackie Kennedy that we knew, in her junior year abroad in Paris. And I didn't care. I just like, I'm sorry. It just was this random girl you didn't really feel like it's a Jackie Kennedy because it's before she was Jackie Kennedy. But it's this random girl in Paris. A lot, and I mean a lot in the audiobook, and maybe that's my problem, was like French language. I was like, I have no idea what this is. I had no idea what. I'll tell you this right now. I was 100 pages in and didn't know what was going on. Yeah, I mean audio. It was the audio. You know, I just kept listening, thinking I was gonna pick up on it. Honey, no. I knew she was in Paris, and that's it. Like, trying to learn French. I mean, I really didn't know what was going on. There's some stuff with the war. No idea. So, I ended up just putting it down. It's probably a good story. A lot of people like it. If you like historical books, you would like it. I did have someone ask me if there was cursing in this. So, I have the Kindle version, and I searched the cuss words. There was one F word, D word. I want to say the S word once. Maybe, yeah, I think so. And they used Jesus Christ as a cuss word. I did look up several different cuss words in that Kindle to help that person to figure out if there was language in this. So, just to let you know. And they said they were going to pass on it. So that made me think I probably need to tell y'all that too, since someone had asked me about it. So yeah, this is, just going in the store from Pango Books, and I'm just not interested. So talk about tea in this. I did decide to part with The Last Russian Doll. There's trigger warnings for gore, child abuse. I was out. It's a generational story. It's probably very emotional, but I'm not here for that, okay? Then the Book of Cold Cases. Several of y'all was like, Amanda, you ain't gonna like that. It's got ghosts. Honey, I was like, yeah, you probably right. Go. Pachinko. Trigger warnings on this. Ooh, someone had messaged me and thank you so much for telling me, because it's a no. Generational story, probably really emotional. A lot of people like it. Some people don't. Some people find it boring. Some people, it's fine. I'm just gonna part with it because it's a very big book. It's very chunky. I want to say it's over 500 something pages. Almost 460s. And I don't have time. So many other great books to read. So, and then S.A. Chakraborty, City of Brass. I'm going to part with it because I read the first chapter. And I also read the first chapter in The Last Russian Doll. And there was like a child abuse or child being killed in the first. I was like, I'm out. I can't with that. Okay. In this, City of Brass, it's a fantasy. I've heard it's great. Christy really liked it as well. I'm sure it's a great story, but I read the first little bit and I just wasn't interested. So I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell it on my Pango Books. You know, fantasy is hit or miss for me, and I've really got to be pulled in the story, and I really had no idea what was going on. So I was like, I'm going to leave my fantasy for Sanderson and Hobb. Okay. My secular fantasy, Sanderson and Hobb right now, because I don't want to get into another author where I'm like, okay, you know, and it's a very big book, you know, it's like 500 and something, you know, it's a tome. So with that being said, we're going to lead into what everybody come for in this video. I'm just kidding. But are you here for this? I don't know. And that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And I want to be open and honest again here with you all. That's what this is. This is me and you just chit-chatting like we besties, okay? This is not it, honey. This is not it. I'm not going to bash anybody who's read this and enjoyed it. I'm not here to judge your reading. That's not me. I have my own stuff that I've read that I'm like, girl, you can't be judging nobody. And what a timely thing. I read Romans today, Romans 2. And it's, you know, talking about we can't be judging people, right? We got our own sin. I'm not judging nobody with this. Let me just be very clear with that. If you like this book, if you like these type of books, I'm not sitting here to say that you're a bad person at all. No, this is not a me saying I'm better than you. No, because let me be clear. Again, your girl has read Outlander. I loved it. I always said to people who talked bad about it, I always get offended. And I shouldn't have been like that, but I did. I excused it for how many years? Until the Lord convicted me on it, I took it on my shelf. So, you know, it's like when that conviction hits, it hits. And so, you know, and I already talked about this a long time ago in some of my about me's and stuff, in my Q&As. And, you know, pre-Jesus, I read 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, that's trash. I'm telling you right now, that's a trash. Do not read that. But I have in the past. For the love hypothesis, you know, Christina Lauren, some of her spicy stuff in the past. And there was one by Helen Huang, I think, and it was The Kiss Quotient, and that was bad. I used to read Colleen Hoover. I've been there. I used to read these things, okay? And it's taken me a long time. This year, I've truly went through some discernment in my own personal reading and, you know, just really praying on things and feeling the Lord really just telling me, you know, what I need to fill my reading with. And that's really needs to be more clean books, Christian reads, and this was not it. So I preface this with saying, do not feel, the whole disclaimer, I'm not attacking nobody with this, but I want to be real clear about my past reading, where I've come to, you know, over the last 2 years. I just started getting into Christian fiction the last couple of years, and the last thing to go was Outlander in the last 2 months. It's a nostalgia thing. I'll never reread it. Like, that's just the facts. It's not, I don't even really... Like, it's really hard for me to even watch the show. Like, the hubs of me, he's been wanting to watch it. We watched some of it. I had to walk away. I'm telling you, I had to walk away. I said, I will not watch this scene. And I walked away. It was a bedroom scene. I said, I'm not watching this. And I said, tell me when it's over. That is just truly, like, the conviction that I have felt, okay? It's crazy. And I'm just being open and honest with you guys too, because I know a lot of y'all have said you appreciate that. But preface all of this with saying that because I truly love you guys and I want to be honest about how I feel about this. And I think we need to talk about this. Okay. I only read 15% of this book, 40-something pages. Okay. And I may read you a couple things in this just to be very clear of what I'm talking about. So several people had said, oh, you can skip things very easily, and that's fine. Everybody has their own discernment level and convictions of things in books. But for me, the first 40-something pages of this book, you know, we have this girl, a woman really, 38 years old. I always say girl. She's a woman. 38 years old, had a very abusive relationship. So I'm sure, as many people have said, this book does handle, I think, domestic violence in a good way, you know, and it handles those tough topics well. I couldn't get there. I couldn't even get there because we had the first 40-something pages. We had this 38-year-old woman. I don't remember her name, but in a new town, her car goes off into like a ditch or something. And this guy, Daniel, I think was his name, he rescues her out of there. And her car's fine. She can still drive it. But he said he pulls her out, tows her out. She needs a tow truck. That's kind of how they meet. And then she ends up going to the bar, the local bar, of course, as usual. And now look, and again, I ain't judging nobody on that because I spent plenty of time in the bars back in the day. I did. So, pre-Jesus. Thank God for deliverance on all that stuff. I praise the Lord for that because it's truth. You know, so I'm not judging nobody on that either. But this starts off with, you know, she's in the bar. She sees him. They see each other. They've known each other for 3 hours. They have one night stand. What? I mean, y'all should see my face listening to the audio of this. And I go, what? Y'all slept together already? What?
What? I mean, y'all should see my face listening to the audio of this. And I go, what? Y'all slept together already? What?
So that was not expected. I really didn't expect a one night stand so fast after knowing each other for 3 hours. She leaves at 4-something in the morning and she goes to, she runs back home. Her brother's there. There's some discussions and stuff going on with her brother, whatever. I'm not going to get into all that. But then we end up, she's talking to her best friend about this hookup. And her best friend, this is where I'm going to read you something. Okay. Read something from this. If you don't want to hear it, you can skip, but this needs to be said. Her best friend says, was the sex good? She asked. I scoffed. The sex was incredible. Incredible. He did this thing where he lifted me up against the wall. We went 3 times. He was back up in under 2 minutes flat. I got tired before he did, and he was doing all the work. See, that's some 28-year-old S-word right there. You think your cognate, drinking, receding hairline, pushing 50-year-old old-time date is going to give you that acrobatic sex. He's not. He threw his back out playing golf. Okay. I don't know who the ex is. I know he's abusive, but like, what? And then later on, she says, you know you can just F him, right? What? Your friend is encouraging this. I'm serious. You do not need to marry this man. You can just use him for sex. You are aware of this option. Almost done. Of course I'm aware of this option, but it wasn't like that though. I kind of liked him. He was charming. You had a one-night stand with a man you knew for how long? 3 hours. And then they go into all this mess. And then I ain't even going to tell you the last part where I stopped. It was a no. Now, the reason I read that out loud to you guys is so you can see what I'm talking about and what I'm about to say for yourself, okay? That's 40-something pages in. We didn't see it on page, them having sex, thank God. But this right here is ridiculous. This, I'm sorry, I'm about to get on my soapbox already. So, this is not reality. This book, and not just this book, so many other secular romance books. I mean, I got Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. It's poking fun at a girl who's a virgin. Why? She's no longer going to write clean reads, apparently, by the way. So, yeah, take that for what you will. It's unfortunate. She's going to start writing open door stuff. And, it's so sad. But this one really, I did not read this book. I'm selling it. So many of my, just on a side note, some of my friends have said that this book poked fun at biblical values, traditional values, whatever you want to call it, of marriage. When it's like, this girl really wants to get married and, save herself before marriage as a virgin, and they're poking fun at that the whole time. Why? Like, miss me with foolery, and so then we got this, and it just got me thinking, because some of my friends have read this recently, and a lot of people are consistent with, like, what they're saying, people I trust. It's a no. I really like the cheat sheet. I really liked When in Rome, but then that was a no. And so I didn't read it, but my friends, I trust them. I know what they're saying. And when I found out what the ending was, I was pretty frustrated. So that's what's really sparked me, especially after reading what I just read, y'all. Why? A lot of people are out here being like, best books, this is so great, great relationship, 5 stars, beautiful romance. Is it? Because are we really encouraging one-night stands? Are we really encouraging sleeping together after knowing each other for 3 hours? And are we really encouraging not to get married and just to sleep with whoever at this point? Like, it's like, and not to mention they're making sex itself out to be something that it is not for everybody, I mean, that whole thing, what she was saying about their sex night, was so unrealistic. It was like, no, absolutely not. The worst part of it is that it gives people a false sense of reality of these beautiful romances and people in their sex life, that how they might have this great love or whatever. And you know what? Some of these women who read this book might be like, not to mention the guy was 28 years old, by the way. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned that. She's 38. He's 28. So it's like, she had, there's a comment in here, about, oh, that's some 28-year-old stuff right there. So what if a woman who's married reads this and then starts to feel like her romance in her own life is lacking because this book made it seem like, oh, he's old, dried up kind of stuff? No, that is so wrong. Or what if a young girl reads this? Because everybody's out there saying, this is great, book talk, 4 or 5 stars, without talking about the content, right? Everybody's saying this. Beautiful romance, I love their connections, all that. Well, what if a young girl reads this? Because the young adults, they're looking into these books, they're seeing it on the Instagram, they're seeing it on the TikTok, whatever you call it. I don't use TikTok, but they're seeing it. And what if they read it and they're like, oh, it's okay to have one-night stands. It's okay to not save myself before marriage. I mean, and who am I to say I did not save myself before marriage? I'm not saying that either. I'm not being a hypocrite on that. But I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, you can't go back and change those things. Once it's done, it's done. And, truly, this to be a good influence on the younger generation and all of this, I mean, that's unrealistic. And it's just a bad influence on who truly want to save themselves. Why are we poking fun? I can't. And, it's like, that is not an option that we can just sleep around with people. Those have repercussions. These books don't think about the consequences of their actions ever. It's all fairyland, fantasy world. Like, this is so unrealistic. A lot of people don't let people know about the content. You start to compare, if you're married, like I said, you compare your own sex life or your married life or your relationship with these type of books, and it's like, you know, those are false sense of reality. You know, like I said, just unrealistic expectations. You start to feel like, what's wrong with me? If my husband's not putting me up against the wall, like it said in this book, is there something wrong with me? That's what people are going to think. Hey, being real, that's what some people are going to compare. And it truly is a fact. And I'm just saying, you know, I'm not trying to preach to anybody. Like I said, I was the person who loved Outlander. I have been there. But the Lord is just showing me that there's so much more to reading in these type of books than this. There's so much more to these books. Okay, we could have clean, sweet reads, and Christian fiction gets a bad rap. People want to say, oh, that's unrealistic too. Yeah, sometimes it might be a little too like, it's the love, that's not real, they don't show their problems, whatever. Sometimes you do see that. It's like, oh, fairy tale, happy-go-lucky. Same thing can happen with those. But these surely are not realistic, okay? Makes me realize, especially the more that I read Christian fiction, like The Love Script by Tony Shalhoub, or Pixels and Paint by Christiane Hunter. Those are books I'm currently reading. How beautiful these sweet reads are. I mean, we got this man who's a new Christian in this story, and he's got his friends texting and asking for prayers for his mother who's sick. They're like praying, man. What a great thing to see. Okay, we don't have this mess, okay? I mean, some Christian fiction can be unrealistic too. I agree. Not everything's cupcakes and rainbows, but you know, the explicitness of these books, and not just these. I mean, I don't own a lot of the big ones. I mean, we got the Tessa Baileys, you know, the Colleen Hoovers. I don't even know who all's out there anymore. Sarah J. Maas with the ACOTAR stuff. Yeah, I mean, all of these different secular romances had me just shaking my head going, no, honey, this ain't it. This is not all this is. The Lord has something so much bigger for our relationships, our marriages. Marriage is holy and in the eyes of the Lord. And truly, when I see these books downplaying the need for a marriage, or, yeah, we just live together, whatever. I'm not saying nothing either. Like, live together before we got married. I ain't saying that. But all of that, pre-Jesus, but all of that, you know, it's like the influence for the younger generation, this ain't it. This ain't it. All of the good, clean, sweet reads, that's what we need. And I felt like this was on my heart to chat about. I hope it came across right, you know, and I'm sorry I had to read that, but I just felt like it wasn't going to come across the way I wanted it to without reading that, because now you know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying, you know, and even like an Outlander series, you know, there is, some people say, oh, I skip it. Honey, there wasn't no skipping this, okay? I could not skip the Outlander stuff in the books hardly when I tried to reread it, and so I was like, I can't read this. It's too much. And even in this, there might be a couple scenes, but the whole first 40 pages was talking about sex. Why? You know, and even in this, I heard that, you know, it's very like border, like it rides a fine line of what people are comfortable with, and I'm not. So, you know, the Sarah Adams, you know, it's really sad that she's not going to do any more clean reads from what I've understood, from what people have said, and she had talked about that on her Instagram, and it's just, you know, I think about the young girls reading these books that are going to get this false sense of reality in their romance life and think it's okay to sleep around. And I hate that. That's why I recommend good, clean reads. And I didn't feel good about talking about Outlander anymore. Some have called me a book influencer. We are all, if we have a channel, we are influencing others to buy books. And I think a lot of us need to really take a step back personally and think, who's watching me when I talk about a book? What do I need to share about? Who is this book for? What is in this book? What's the spice level? What is the explicitness? All of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, you don't know who's watching you, and I don't want to ever have something on here that somebody's going to read and be like, oh, I shouldn't have read this. I'm not comfortable. I'm not the age I should be reading this, all that stuff. So, I don't know. I hope that'll come across okay. Because it's a no. It's a no. It's a no. It was very disappointing, and I should have known, but yeah, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. So, let's move into, I don't know how to continue on in this video now, but let me know your thoughts on some of this. You know, this is like full, open, and honest discussion. You know, again, I'm not trying to be mean or, you know, or condemn anyone or holier than thou, because my whole life, honey, I've made mistakes. I have, you know, been delivered by the Lord. Okay, truly. The Lord has truly delivered me in my past and new creation in Christ, truly. In 2016, he washed all my sins, and the blood of Jesus, that's all, he washed away all my sins. And, you know, I don't want anyone to ever feel like I'm acting any certain type of way, because I'm not. I truly know I've been there. I've read the things. I've watched the things. And I've just come a really long way in my faith journey to where I feel like I can chat with you guys about this and be open. And I feel like I want to be a voice for the community and just to share my heart on these topics and just truly be open and honest about it. So, yeah, which is why we're here, okay? It's okay to DNF a book. It's okay. So, with that being said, like I said, I am reading the Love Script, Tony Shalhoub. This is so cute. I'm loving this. I'm going to continue reading this into the weekend. This is all about Nevaeh, and she is a hairstylist for this guy, Lamont Booker, his mother. And she is sick. She's throwing up, and she's had cancer in the past. So we start off with, you know, she's there, and she sees she's sick and all this, and she makes his homemade soup for his mother and them, and it's real sweet. And, you know, she's getting ready to leave the house, and, you know, he comes in, and he's really, like, worried about his mom. And he's a big Hollywood movie star, and she never really talked to him much, but like they're going out the door, and she ends up falling on the front porch or something like that, I think. And he grabs her and like helps her, you know. But then there's a paparazzi that took the picture, and now they're on the front cover of Star something magazine, whatever it was. So they're all over the news, and now they have to fake date, and that's going to be fun. I love fake dating. So I'm really liking this. Like I said, the faith content that Tony Shalhoub puts in her books is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So I'm going to continue to read that. I'm on chapter 6. I'm buddy reading this with Katie at Paperbacks and Ponytails and Alicia from For the Love of Christian Fiction. So, yeah, it's going to be great. Hopefully I can get some more of that done this weekend. Weekend reading, you know. And then, well, why did I pick that up? And then I'm in the middle of actually 70%. I'm going to try to read some of this probably tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to try to edit this video tonight, actually. So, probably going to keep reading it tomorrow. But the first kiss happened, and it's just so cute. Pixels and Paint by Christiane Hunter. Loving this. I'll talk more about it in the next wrap-up, but so good. So good, okay? And then we have got Amita I don't know how you say, Parikh. I can't say that name, but this is all about, this is called The Circus Train, and this is the book of the month book that I think I'm finally enjoying. It's a historical, there's not many triggers or anything. This is just a historical fiction about a girl who, I don't remember her name, Lena. Yeah, I should have known that. That's my granny's name. But Lena, set in 1938, and she is, you know, the daughter of this illusionist in a circus, okay? So we've got a lot of circus stuff going on in here. And an illusionist meaning, like, not real magic, but, like, you know, magic shows and stuff at circus. She has polio. Her mother passed away when she was born, and this girl, she's had polio since she was a baby, and she can't walk. She's in a wheelchair. So she uses a wheelchair. That's right, yeah, and she, like, really likes the science intrigue of medical system and all that stuff. She's working a lot with this doctor there and her dad, and then this life kind of takes a crazy turn when they rescue an orphan, Alexander. He is Jewish, and they have to keep him hidden because of, like, Germany and all this stuff with the war, you know. He's kind of got his own past, and so World War II is starting to, like, go down, okay? Everything's starting with it, and then their friendship starts to blossom. Alexander's being trained as her dad's apprentice and all this stuff. So, yeah, I'm like 30% in. I'm listening to the audiobook. The audiobook's really good, and I'm really intrigued with the characters. I really like the characters, and like a good 3.5, 4 stars. So I'm gonna try to finish it. I've DNF'd so many of these books. Y'all, who am I? But, you know, it is what it is. You know, I knew going into this Book of the Month readathon that I was going to try to clear these books out because, number one, don't have space on my shelf, and, you know, it is what it is. And, yeah, I just, if I don't like it, I'm gonna have to get rid of it, and that's great. Maybe someone else can buy it and enjoy it, but for me, it's a no on a lot of these. And I think that when, you know, like Christy says, if it fall, it fall. It's okay to just say, this is not gonna be for me, and move on, because there's too many good books out there to be reading right now. So I love you guys so much. I hope that this video was okay. You know, I wanted to have this conversation because it's really on my heart, and I didn't even drink no water. But it really was on my heart, and you know, this is the best place to have those open discussions. I hope that it come across the right way, truly, because I love you and I never want to offend anyone. I never do want to offend anybody, but I feel like these things need to be said. So I love you guys. Like I said, how many times can I say I love y'all? Anyway, I truly do. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're reading down below, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye, y'all.